The followers of Jonathan Edwards in their churches, men like Bellamy and Hopkins, designed a test question which they didn't expect anyone to be able to answer with a yes, but it was a shock question to make them see what their priorities were. And the question they would ask of prospective members was this: are you willing to be damned for the glory of God? Well, they knew no one can honestly say yes, but what they were trying to get them to see was simply this: you don't come first. It's the glory of God. The Catechism begins, man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. They were striking at what they saw coming here in the United States. A culture which concentrated on the individual, and they were right. Within a generation after Bellamy and Hopkins lived and died, you had Ralph Waldo Emerson with his gospel of the self. Since then, it's gone much further. Now, it has been said the real church of the American people and of people the world over is the psychotherapist's couch, with its emphasis on the individual and how he feels. In other words, we are an autistic people. If you go back to the Romantic poets of the English language, and for that matter, those of France and Germany and elsewhere, you find this tremendous absorption with themselves. Byron was always on stage, and so was Percy Bysshe Shelley. Shelley never, as far as I could learn from having read a great deal about him from my student days on, thought of anyone other than himself in a primary way. Totally self-centered. And they made that into a vocation. They so thoroughly emphasized it that since then it has become a part of the psyche of Western man. And we have to do something about it, beginning in the churches. Because our churches are too often autistic in the kind of spirituality they give expression to. My experience. What about your experience? What value does it have in the sight of God? The chief end of man is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. A great book was written in the 1700s, late 1700s, on the whole duty of man. And from beginning to end, the author said one thing: you have a duty not to be yourself, but to be what God wants you to be. Have we forgotten that? And our politics is autistic because the sum total of it is, what have you, the politician, done for me lately? We have, as a result, a major battle on our hands. Autism is more than a private tragedy that some families are experiencing. It is a social problem of growing dimension. It will destroy our country unless we begin, each in our particular sphere, fighting against the implications of autism. About 30 or more years ago, I was invited by a very important and powerful American, truly a great man, who wanted to hire me and set me up for life if I would write for a particular cause, and I felt it was a lost cause, so I turned him down. But at the time, he told me, he said, unless we turn this country around, we are going to see a dark age that will last for 200 years at least. Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Enjoy Him? Now remember, when that was framed, the framers knew they were likely to undergo persecution. By enjoying Him, they didn't mean having everything they wanted their way, but knowing the truth. That's where their joy came in. I have known men who came here from a background of great and horrifying experiences. I recall when I was young of one man's experiences being in one cell, while in the other cell they were breaking the bones of another man with a hammer. He never forgot the screaming agony of that man as he died without betraying anyone. But he was a Christian. He was not an autist. And he lived and died for something much bigger than himself. We need again to develop that kind of faith and a culture where man's chief end is something more than himself. If we continue as autists, we and our country and our world will perish.
This is the Orthos Forum, and we approve this message.